Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to CXO TV for giving me the opportunity to come and do this on digital transformation, which I feel is an often used, oblique abused word. When I talk about digital transformation, organizations talk about digital agility, digital maturity, digital incubation, or entire organizations themselves being digital. Who would have thought of in the last 18 months that we use this word so much because everybody is working from home? According to a World Health Organization report, which I really love, it's an annual risk report. The probability that a pandemic affects more than 30 countries was just 7%. This is the 2019 report. And currently we are in 2021, 18 months into the pandemic, and the pandemic has affected more than 180 countries, forcing all of us to go to digital. There's this wonderful WhatsApp which is doing the rounds, which talks about who's the single most uh, agent responsible for digital transformation in an organization, and the answer is COVID, because COVID has propelled digital into the forefront. People are now talking about digital, saying, how do we become more digital as an organization? How do we become more agile as an organization? Today, 18 months into the pandemic, the entire banking experience has become digital, right? With the use of AI and ML techniques, the banks are taking decisions much more faster, whether to process a loan or not. If earlier it used to take 1 week to 10 days, now it's actually less than 5 minutes to take a decision on whether the loan needs to be approved or not. And this is not only in loans, right across the banking ecosystem. If you look at what's happening from a microfinance perspective, AI, ML, and digital are making great waves in the entire industry. I've got few slides to share with you, right? And this is what we speak about when we talk about AI and in the entire banking industry. It is the entire business models are changing, right? It's becoming more connected, more evolved. Uh, Next generation tools and customer experience is coming to the forefront. I don't need to go to a bank anymore. I can sit with the use of my mobile phone or any other tab or digital device. I can transact. I know that the power of tools from an AI perspective of BFSI are running there in the background. Similarly goes for digital trust, right? What's happened from a cybersecurity perspective? The hackers are getting smarter day by day, right? And what is happening from those perspective is the organization like banks are using AI to mitigate or to thwart some of these hacking attempts. And finally, all this is leading to the rise of quantum computing, and also the entire digital transformation piece is maturing from a AI perspective. I was looking at one of the banking applications, and it was so amazing to see that just by looking at your debit card, right, and they click a photograph, and you can customize your debit card to the nth experience to what you want, including the numbers that are printed on the debit card from an AI perspective. Was it possible even to think about this 2 years ago? The answer everybody knows. So how is AI changing the world that we are living in? Right? Whether we look at identifying high, points of value deliver or services, products, or if we are looking at how do we discuss inside out perspective to imagine what is the value that digital is bringing to organizations from an AI perspective. uh, if I have to shortlist today, what are the potential value enhancing digital interventions, whether AI, ML is going to change the perspective of how banks are or the BFSI industry, or especially the fintechs are going to do business, right? Whether you look at Paytms of this world, from the largest companies of this world to small startups that are doing fintechs, in tech, AI, ML is a very integral part of their journey. And how do you define this journey? You start small, you pick up one or two projects, right, that you want to confirm on whether the entire customer experience is good, bad, ugly, and then you take forward those projects. And lastly, I would say the world is changing because all this has become a part of our lifestyle, right? It is digital, or AI ML is now part of everybody's life every single day. And how do I integrate it with value delivery across the entire bank's business functions is something which is more important. And this entire digital piece is now actually DNA change to the entire business. Whether I talk about integrated, extended enterprise, like I said, probably last 2.5 years, I have not gone to a branch. Using the power of these tools like AI, I have all the banking on my fingertips. So, is what's a bank branch now? There's no branch. Every phone today or every digital device today is a branch, and that goes to my next point, in which the entire digitech piece is driving these omni-channel customer experiences. The third point, most important from an AI perspective, is the data and analytics enabled business model. On how does AI help me? Number one, take better business decisions. Number two, take decisions which are based on correct facts. And number three, take decisions which will help me go to the next level of business model. After that, I look at digital assets and people assets. Again, very, very important. People piece from a culture perspective to how do I embrace AI into my organization? What kind of skills do I need to become future ready perspective? And then obviously we spoke about the entire resilience and the digital trust piece. Let's look at what's happening from a data creation perspective. If I look at the three pillars, right? Uh, Enterprises today are facing a paradox on how do I balance the entire customer agility with the risk appetite, whether it's the consumer, whether it's looking at the regulators. RBI recently released a regulation around the use of AI ML tools, to the technology piece, which will actually enable the entire consumer journey. So the enterprises now, for example, the entire banking space needs to look at these three themes extensively and figure out what is going to be the big change from a AI ML perspective, and how I have proposed a 6-point agenda on how do BFSI sector look at AI, ML, or any of the new emerging technologies, right? Is number one, obviously, I need to change the game. I need to understand where the market is going. If I don't do that, I am already redundant in the market. I can't make money. The reason my businesses operate, right? Second is the entire piece on digital tech, wherein how do I identify what is the right kind of AI ML tool to be used in my organization? Two, how do I integrate it with my existing business functions? Look at the entire transformation from an organization perspective, and whether I need to deliver it in a local market or a global market. Today, we are living in a borderless world, right? Can I expand locally to capture niche markets? For example, is there a small region in Northeast today that I don't cater to? But from a BFSI sector, it becomes very, very important, right? And what is my global aspiration? Number one, do I have an aspiration to go global? And if yes, then do I have the wherewithal from a people, process, and technology to serve these global markets? And why are we talking about AI, digital, ML now, right? Uh, I think if you look at the entire piece around what's happening, and I'd like to bring your attention to the accelerators in the middle of the slide, where it talks about the entire piece around IoT, digital, AI, ML, distributed cloud, data. All these pieces are actually looking at anywhere operations, wherein I can operate from anywhere. The cyber security is a given, and automation is what everybody is talking about. What does this help me do from a BFSI sector perspective? And the question is very easy. Will this digital transformation using tools like AI ML help me, or how quickly can I adopt to these tools? And the answer would be in the three key focus areas, if I would add, starting with customer experience, going to the competitive advantage, to then looking at business growth. And hence, if I would want to bring your attention to the entire piece around what are the new technologies that are changing the entire ecosystem, let's look at any organization, right? It has a finance function, it has HR, it has supply chain, it has what sales and marketing. And look at the typical functions that these four business operations would perform. Go to the last level of layer and see that cloud, any of the technology pieces, whether it's mobility, cloud, IoT, artificial intelligence, or blockchain, plays such a important role there. So like we said, right, how do you transform your customer experience, your product services, your value chain, using the entire piece of artificial intelligence and AI/ML, right? And what is this happening is this entire piece is leading to a piece around digital trust, where companies are worried about four things the maximum, whether it is the ethics piece, whether it is the accountability on who's doing what from a accountable perspective, to integrity, to transparency. Very, very important, right? And according to a recent survey by an organization, right, there will be a huge emphasis on implementing and formalizing these digital trust initiatives like AI/ML in the BFSI sector. And 40% of Fortune 1000 companies will require partners and vendors to meet these AI conditions, which will actually become a condition of doing business. What do I mean by condition of doing business is that if you don't embrace AI/ML today, you will become redundant in the market, right? And that is where you need to have, let's go to the last point, right? 40% of privacy compliance technology will rely only on AI, which will be up from 5% currently, which means that because every BFSI sector holds tons and tons of data, right? How do I put in the use of tools like AI/ML not only to safeguard information, but to make it a business enabler so that we can then take forward this journey together? And this is where the entire workforce of the future will come in. And if you see in this, 22% of the organization's workplace is going to use artificial intelligence. So how do you change the culture of the organization and the growth of AI and related technologies in redefining how we work itself and changing how the people can derive meaning from their work is going to be a big uh, game changer going forward. And all these conversations and tough questions can only help us shape the workforce of the future. And like all pieces, the BFSI organization has to look at the entire roadmap, from your business strategy to look at your digital strategy, to look at your enterprise architecture strategy. And once this entire strategy has been done, how do you create a digital transformation roadmap having AI/ML as the building blocks, if you were to so that. That's it that I wanted to cover today. Thank you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.